So we're going to do a little demo of coding with AI, and for this demo, we'll use an extension called ChatTDD VSCode. So make sure you have that one installed. And we will start off with an empty project. You have to start with an empty project. This extension doesn't really work if you have pre-existing code. You have to start from scratch, as it's basically just a demo. Once you have that extension installed, it will allow you to run a command called ChatTDD. And once you do that, it will ask you for an overall description of the application that we need to develop. So let's do a simple Python web application. Provides the current weather. Here in California. So let's do that and see what it comes up with. And now it will create a virtual environment. And I just look at the terminal window here and wait for the execution to complete before I press enter. And what happens then is that it takes the terminal response and passes it back to the GPT. And now we activated the virtual environment, and it wants to install Flask and requests. So let's do that. And I wait for that those commands to complete before I press enter. And now it should start to generate some code and hopefully some tests as well, because the testing is really the important part where at least I foresee that in the future there will be interaction between humans and machine for creating code. Let's take a look at what it already created. Oh yeah, it creates a lot of stuff here. Let's not dive into the code, but let's continue with the extension itself. It activates the virtual environment again. I'm not sure why it does that. It installs all the requirements. That is fine. And now it wants to run a unit test. It does that and it failed. It was waiting for a response code 200, but got a 500. And again, I just press enter, and that will send that unit test response back to the GPT, and it will try to make sense of what it does. You can already see that we have a problem here because it says that we need an API key to make this call. We don't have an API key. So for the next test, it wants to activate, and it wants to run the test again. And you can see it still fails. So I want to write here, please change the API to a free and open API that doesn't require API key. Met.ino is one that I use a lot. So let's do that and see if it actually changes the code, if it can redo the tests as well to make sure they work with that API. So I think we should be able to see the change just by having that weather app.py file open. So let's leave it there. So it, by some reason, it wants to activate the virtual environment, and now it runs a unit test again. And that actually worked. You can see it has updated the API to use met.no. That is great, and the test is passing. And now it says, are there any additional features that are required for this application? Okay. That's cool. I actually want to take a look at the tests that it created. So here it created a test case here. It does a setup, and then it makes sure that we get a 200. That is cool. it's not a perfect test. There could be other also negative tests and more detailed tests to be performed here, but at least it's a beginning. Let's run the application, see if it actually compiles and runs, and it looks fine from here. We need to go to 127.0.0.1 port 5000. So let's do that. And weather in Palo Alto condition, clear sky day. Yeah, that's right. And the temperature, it's not really perfect. Doesn't really show the temperature, but it's a start. So let's go back to chat.tdd and say, can you show the complete JSON? On the web page. And let's see what happens. Let's see if we can get all the data that it managed to get from this API. And also, I'm curious to the destination. Oh yeah, it managed to get the latitude and longitude for the position that I gave it. Of course, in a more serious application, you wouldn't do anything like that. You would do it differently. You would want the user to type in their location or pick it from a map or use their GPS location or something like that. But for now, let's keep it simple. It wants to run another unit test, and that seems to be working. So let's run the application again. It asks me what additional functionality should be added to this application. Well, nothing at the moment. Let's just do that, and I'll update. Oh, okay. Condition clear sky day, 14.4 degrees Celsius. That's right. And here's the raw data. I'm pretty impressed by this. Of course, if you're a seasoned Python developer, you could do this yourself within 10 minutes. But it really indicates what will be the future of coding with AI. And I think the tests, the way that it writes the tests is maybe the key, because then we could focus more on the requirements and making sure that it writes the correct tests. And we don't really have to care about the code that much. So this is a great start. Let's see where it takes us from here.